When I was 22 and fresh out of college, I went to Ghana, West Africa to teach high school as a Peace Corps volunteer. I would teach on the weekdays, and then on the weekends, I would ride my bike to neighboring villages to practice the local language. One weekend, I rode my bike 5 kilometers on a dirt road to this small little village called Morso. The villagers, they brought me to meet the chief, and I greeted him, and then I asked him if I could take his photo. And he said, of course. And he called over his family, a busload of people who all surrounded him, and I took his photo. And then I asked the chief if I could take a photo of just him. And he responded, this is just me. Who am I without my family? This is just me. You see, what he was trying to explain is that each of us exist in the context of relationships. And this idea is a core principle at PowerMyLearning because students also exist in the context of relationships. We just call them learning relationships. My name is Elizabeth Stock, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of PowerMyLearning. Now, the power of these learning relationships is something that our schools know on a deep level. Now, this might not be evident, because when you talk with a school administrator, they'll want to talk about how they're trying to raise student achievement by, say, training their teachers on a new way to teach math, or inviting parents to Taco Tuesdays. But when you think about it, these really are about learning relationships between teachers and students in the first case, and students and families in the second case. So, if schools already know about learning relationships, they're already focused on them, then why are we not seeing amazing results? The reason why is because they're thinking of them in a line with teachers, then students, then families. What we really need to do is think of them as a triangle where all 3 are interconnected by learning relationships and all 3 are working together on the same page. This is our insight after 20 years of working with schools. When the triangle is strong and teachers and families are reinforcing each other, that's when students do the best academically and the best social-emotionally. Now, I have a background as a teacher, but also as an MIT engineer. And we leverage technology to strengthen the triangle. But we do it differently than other ed tech organizations, because they look at the same triangle, and they rub their hands together, and they go, oh my God, I could build the best software to do what a teacher is supposed to do. Or I could build the most amazing code to do what a family member is supposed to do. And at PowerMyLearning, we think that that's a grave mistake, because what it does is it pushes the teachers and the families out of the triangle and replaces them with screens. Instead, what we do is we bring technology in to strengthen the learning relationships that are on the sides of the triangle. Now, that might sound like a small nuance, but it actually has major implications. Now, we recently launched something called Family Playlists, which is a new type of homework. When a teacher assigns a family playlist, a family member will receive a text message and can open it up in their phone in the language of choice. And the next 3 steps all reinforce the learning relationships in the triangle. Step 1, the student to family relationship. So students and their parents, or it could be another family member, an adult in the household, they'll do a fun activity together, like say building a molecule with gummies and toothpicks. And the student gets to play the role of the teacher. Like, no, mama, the carbon atom actually goes here. And that's on purpose, because what it's doing is leveraging the learning science behind the adage that you don't really know something until you can teach it. Step 2, the family to teacher relationship. So the family can now take a photograph, the parent can take a photograph of what they've done together and send it to the teacher along with feedback. Like, we struggled a little bit understanding carbon chains. And the teacher can respond saying, I'm on it, not a problem. And don't worry, I struggled too with carbon chains when I first learned it. Step 3, the teacher to student relationship. The teacher now has this rich information that she or he can use to really motivate students, particularly when they're stuck. So I heard your mom, she said that you guys were struggling a little bit with carbon chains. And I think it is so cool that your mom is so involved in your education, and I've thought of a new way to teach it to you. We recently analyzed the impact of family playlists, and we saw statistically significant gains equivalent to 4 months of additional learning. Family playlists, they also break down barriers, and they enable schools to drive equity and inclusion in education. You can do a family playlist in Spanish. You can do it in Arabic. And family playlists are on your phone, and we all know that cell phones are ubiquitous, even in under-resourced communities. You know, the magic of the triangle is really something amazing to behold. Last year, I met Daisha, her 6th grade son, Jalen, and his teacher, Miss Arenas. Now, Daisha and Jalen, they did family playlists all through the fall and the winter, and then when it came time for the parent-teacher conference, and Daisha showed up at Miss Arenas' door, Miss Arenas leapt up from her chair, ran over, and gave Daisha a huge hug. Now, Daisha and Miss Arenas, they started as strangers, but now they are teammates. And Jalen, he started getting D's, and now he gets B's. This is the power of the triangle, and we have thousands of stories that are just like it. But why stop at thousands? At PowerMyLearning, we want to bring the power of the triangle to students all across the country, and I hope you will join with me. Thank you.